On this episode of Big Boys Don't Cry, we discuss the 2002 classic My Big Fat Greek Wedding. You don't have to have seen the film to enjoy the podcast, but if you do listen without having seen it, just be aware that there might be spoilers. Enjoy.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah, that was in relation to the terrible joke you just texted me. Which you have to tell the listeners now.
An incredible joke. So, Paddy texted me saying that the link is available when I'm ready, as in the link to where we have our little online chats to record this podcast. So I said, what about Zelda? Haha. Get it? Because it's video games.
Get it. Hashtag nerd alert. We're about to talk about video games. Sorry, nerds. Or should I say sorry, film nerds?
Yeah, screw you, film nerds. Now we're all about video games. Welcome to...
Yeah. I would actually love to do a podcast about how much I love The Legend of Zelda. That would be great.
And I can talk about how I think The Legend of Zelda is overrated, and we can bounce back and forth.
Hey, did you say overrated?
Yes, I did say overrated.
Sorry, your audio is coming and going a bit, but yeah, I assumed you did, and I want you to know that you are wrong.
I am not wrong. I'm completely accurate. Some of them are incredible. Don't get me wrong. Link to the Past, one of the greatest games of the 90s. Wind Waker, possibly the best 3D platformer adventure game ever made. But some of them not so good. What was the one on the Wii?
Oh, there were two. There was Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was between GameCube and Wii, wasn't it?
It was weirdly released on both. Yes, that's correct. I'm trying to track down a ROM of the GameCube version to see if it will play on my laptop. But I'm still only on Majora's Mask on my big Zelda playthrough, so who knows when I'll get there. But
see, Majora's Mask is a good one. I like that. It's a very strange game. It's got that whole repeating time cycle thing going on, which is good.
Yeah, it's really good and super weird, and I love it. I'm on the water temple at the moment, which is really industrial and has all pipes everywhere and not what you'd expect from a Zelda game. It's great.
Oh, very good, very good.
And you get taken there on the back of a giant turtle.
And you get the weird, creepy spider face people. They're good.
Yeah.
It's a very, very strange game. I am playing at the moment. I'm playing Pokémon games, but being an absolute freak that I am, I have randomized them. So I'm currently playing Pokémon Fire Red, which is the remake of the original Pokémon that was released for the Game Boy Advanced. But I have randomized the file so that all of the Pokémon are random. So any Pokémon in the grass that you find are random. Any Pokémon that you fight are random.
What? So suddenly you walk out at the beginning and you might be facing a level 100 whatever with your level 1 Pikachu.
No, so the levels remain the same.
Right,
but,
okay.
You could come out and find Mewtwo and your starter Pokemon could be a Caterpie, a Magikarp, and what's another shit tiny Pokemon? Another shit tiny Pokemon. Which is really good fun. So it's very unexpected. Unexpected stuff happens all the time, which is nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm also doing it as a Nuzlocke, which, do you know what a Nuzlocke is?
No, that sounds like nerd language.
It is incredible nerd language. It's an insanely niche thing. So a Nuzlocke is where you play a Pokemon game, but with permanent death in it. So normally in a Pokemon game, you have Pokemon and you might lose a battle and they might faint, so you can go and heal them up. But in a Nuzlocke, if they faint, they're dead and you can never use them again.
Oh, shit. What happens if you run out? Is it game over? Do you die?
Yeah, you lose. And then you can also only catch one Pokemon per area, and it's got to be the first one that you see in that area.
Oh.
So you walk into some grass,
salty.
The first thing that you catch, the first Pokemon you find, you can catch. You can't catch anything else. If you fail to catch that Pokemon, then you don't have a Pokemon for that area. So it goes against the mantra of gotta catch them all.
I was going to say,
you cannot catch them all.
Pokemon, hard to catch them all in this game.
It's truly impossible. Yeah. But it's really good fun. So I've been doing these on and off during lockdown. Doing a randomized Nuzlocke is the terminology used by Pokemon fans.
Nice. That sounds like the kind of thing that Elon Musk jerks off to.
Yeah, he likes
world's richest man.
What Pokemon type would Elon Musk be? I'm thinking a steel electric type to go with his engineering.
Yeah, he'd be one of those steel dudes with the big brimmed heads.
But the only move he'd know is self-destruct. Oh, get it? Because he's constantly undermining himself with bullshit.
Yeah. We were on a pub quiz a couple of weeks ago. One of the questions was, how did Elon Musk make a tit out of himself in August of last year? And I was like, how long have you got?
I was going to say, I mean, there are just countless options there.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the specific answer that was being looked for was, but it was just one in the sea of nonsense.
Here I am in this sea of nonsense. That's Disturbed, right? Disturbed.
Yeah. Drowning here in my sea of nonsense. Fucking the richest man.
So
you buy one of my cars.
So lots has happened this week.
Yeah, geez. I have not been cancelled, which is good, despite your best efforts. So we are here. We live to record another episode, so that's good.
Donald Trump is now responsible for 50% of all impeachments in the history of the United States. Therefore, achieving something in his flaccid 4 years as president.
Yeah. And yeah, people are finally realizing that all the horrible, offensive shit he's been spouting for 4 years might be actually inciting violence and fascism and sowing the seeds of really horrible stuff. And it's Twitter have finally seen fit to ban him, but Jack Dorsey's all sad about it. What have you been doing for 4.5 years?
But the thing is that reason that
I keep saying 4.5 years in reference to Brexit being bad, and I get the two mixed up.
But the thing is that he's now an impotent leader. He's got a few days left, so it's easy for all of these companies and all of these people who are working under him to make this decision to have a sudden moral high ground, isn't it?
Exactly. There's going to be no consequence. Although Twitter's stock has dropped dramatically, but that means nothing to anyone apart from a few suits in finance.
Stonks is just fucking astrology for rich cunts, isn't it?
Stonks and shares.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Stocks is rubbish. It's just people making.
It's not real.
Things. Yeah.
No one has ever managed to prove to me that stocks are real.
No, they're not real.
There's no definitive proof.
Money is fake. Money is a fake object. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so I think money. Welcome to Philosophy Cast.
Yeah.
Money does not exist. Elon Musk is a Pokemon
of the steel variety. Steel electric type.
Which there are some steel electric type Pokemon actually. Magneton. Do you remember Magneton?
Yeah. He's definitely got an Elon Musk vibe.
Yeah, he does.
And does it evolve from 3 tiny Magnetons, or does it evolve into 3 big Magnetons? I can't remember which way around it is.
Magnemite is the one little ball. And then Magneton is the 3 balls, but then they actually added another magnet Pokemon after that called Magnezone, which is like a little UFO. And
I don't like that.
No, you don't like any of the new Pokemon.
Yeah, hard new pass Pokemon on anything but the original 150.
New Pokemon are scary things. I like some of them. I like that there's a key Pokemon called Cliff Key, and I like that there's a bag of rubbish Pokemon called Garbage or something like that.
No, I'm down with the bag of rubbish because that reflects the world that we live in. What about who?
What about the ice cream Pokemon?
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, ice cream is fine by me.
So sorry, I got the name wrong of the rubbish Pokemon. It is called Trubbish, and then it evolves into Garbodor,
Garbodor.
It is officially called the trash heap Pokemon. If
That
I
sounds
was a
like,
Pokemon,
you know, when like you cross two breeds of dog that aren't normally crossed, you get like a cockapoo or a labradoodle or whatever. A Garbodor. It's a Labrador that's crossed with a bin.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking about dogs a lot because in the background we've got that show on that's like the Bake Off, but it's dog grooming. Have you seen this show?
I have seen it, but not. Well, I've seen it noted, but I've not actually watched it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's great. It's mostly the first half is like wet dogs looking furious. And then the second half is like really, really fancy done-up dogs parading around in front of their owners while Sheridan Smith is all peppy and lovely about them. It's great. Like, it's just what you need in lockdown.
Is it full of loads of weird dog racists that are like, this breed must look exactly like this?
Well, I can't tell you because so far I've only seen it with the sound off, weirdly. Last week we were watching it while like someone was on the phone to us, so we just had it on in the background with the sound off, and then this week I kind of like have it on in the background while I'm talking to you. So I'm in the other room, but I can see it through the conservatory door. So I think it's better with the sound off, honestly.
Oh, there we go. Does it have any racists in it? Like the woodworking show that was going to be on Sky History?
Oh, yeah. What was it? Nazi carpenters with Aunt Middleton or something? Who was the guy?
It was it Lee Mack?
Lee Mack, that's right. Aunt Middleton. Nazi carpenters with Lee Mack. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Is there a guy with massive, like, 1488 tattoos there grooming a poodle? Just
Unfortunately not.
Shaving a little SS symbol into its bum.
Yeah. Shaving the swastika into it and claiming that it's like a Buddhist symbol of unity or whatever it is.
I've shaved SS into my poodle, which is the initials of my dad. But your name is Jeff Davies. Where does the SS come from? That's just how I do D's.
It's German for the butt.
Oh dear.
Good times. So that's what's on television, but we also watch films sometimes, don't we?
We do watch films sometimes, and this week we watched a film that I like.
Sometimes they're classic romantic comedies from 2002. You know, this is our bread and butter.
It is. So we watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is a lovely film.
It is a lovely film. That's the right word for it, isn't it? It's an incredibly gentle film, and I think what's really, really nice about it is there's so little else like this out there, is that even though on its surface, and even if you've kind of seen it once or twice, you think it's actually an incredibly generic rom-com, and in many ways it is, but it's so gentle and so kind of exemplary of the form that that's actually a good thing, right?
Yeah, and I think what really makes My Big Fat Greek Wedding stand out is that it doesn't have the drama and the nonsense that other movies of its ilk have, where, you know me, I love a good accidental misunderstanding and then someone running away and then it all ending with a chase to the airport to say, no, I love you, stay with me. I love all of that stuff. But what I like
if we didn't love that stuff, we wouldn't be doing this show, right?
No, exactly. But what I love about My Big Fat Greek Wedding is that it doesn't really have any of that. The love that the two characters have for one another overcomes easily things like family resistance, differences in class, things like that, where they just, hey, we like each other. First off, they think they're attractive, then they get to know each other and love each other. And it's like, oh, no, we can overcome all of that easily. There's never a moment in it where one of them tries to run away from the situation. And I really like that because, you know, we're all romantics at heart. And the idea that love conquers all is a really nice notion. But a lot of the time in these movies, when they say love conquers all, it's very fragile and it nearly falls apart over the slightest
because someone says the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or doesn't say the right thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice that in this movie they just kind of go, love is fine. Let's just have a look at these people who find each other and then just have a really nice time over a period of months.
Yeah, it's like as soon as they like realize that they like each other, they just get together, and you're like, oh, okay, there it is. That's great. They're together. So what's going to happen now?
Yeah, and what happens then is just a really nice, almost ensemble piece where you get to understand their families and witness the quirks and the eccentricities of these people that are around them. And that's really nice, where I think the first time I watched this movie, I was sat there thinking, oh, when's someone going to do something stupid to ruin this romance? But it never happens, and it's really nice that it doesn't happen, isn't it?
Or when's there going to be some pratfalling or some kind of vulgar side plot with a brother having too much sex or something, you know? There's no horn in this film. It's not a horny film,
It is not a horny film. The closest you get to that kind of nonsense is the brother teaching the fiancé the wrong things in Greek.
Yeah. And I don't know what those words were. Did you? Did you look up the translations?
Did you not have the subtitles on?
No, our copy didn't have subtitles on it.
Okay.
It must have been when I saw it previously as a young boy, but I can't remember what they were.
So it's things like, I have 3 testicles, or your boobs look nice to the mum, and things like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that kind of crude 10-year-old nonsense that you do.
That is vulgar.
Yeah, but it's not shitting in the middle of the street vulgar. It's not.
No, it certainly is not. No. That's another wedding movie that could not be more different, and yet they're both lumped into the same genre. And this is why we do this show, because people think that all romantic films are the same, and they're not.
Yeah,
all romantic comedies are the same, and they're not.
Romantic comedy goes into various different places, doesn't it? You know, you've got the whole form versus content arc, haven't you, where, you know, you've got the very traditional romantic comedy where the format is right and the content is right. So that could be something like I don't know, think of the most generic rom-com off the top of your head.
Well, I was thinking of something where the form is right and the content is right, is something like When Harry Met Sally, but that's good and that's not generic. But that is still a good exemplar of the form. You know what I mean?
Have to be bad, but yeah. So When Harry Met Sally is the perfect example of, it's a gushy romantic movie. Or You've Got Mail is another example that kind of fits that bill, doesn't it? It fits the exact template of what a rom-com's going to be, and the content is exactly right. But then you've got ones which mess around with the form a bit. So it might be a bit darker. It might be a bit sillier. It might be a bit more abstract.
You mean like Winter's Tale?
Like Winter's Tale, exactly. And then the
might
other
be
way,
a magical horse.
The other way, you've got the content, so it might fit the template, but actually then the content within it is very strange. Like The Room, for instance, would be the perfect example of a movie where structurally that would be...
Well, the form of it is also quite strange.
Yeah, but if you think of the general structure of a bunch of friends in love, etc., but then
mother who says she's dying and no one reacts.
But then the content goes all over the place like that.
Yeah. Guy shoots himself to death at the end of the film. Kills himself because he doesn't want to live in this world anymore after his wife cheated on him. That's how they all end, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. So the content is completely out there. But it's meant to look like this very traditional romantic movie. So you've got. I
think it might have been long enough since I last saw The Room that I'm now ready to watch it again.
Oh, that is always a good time.
I don't know.
That's always a good time. But yeah, and so there's a lot of variation within romantic comedies and within romantic movies, and I think you're right. This really shows the scope is very different. You know, there doesn't have to be all of these random nonsense tropes that come up time and time again.
No. Tropes such as, just kind of outright vulgarity or, misunderstanding each other in the airport chase, whatever. It doesn't really do all that. And actually, really, it fits into the romantic comedy genre, but really, I think this is a film about family more than anything else. It's almost more like a family saga through the lens of romantic comedy. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is. And I think that's why a lot of people fell in love with it so quickly as well, is, everyone in this movie is memorable, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. And what the best part is that the Greek people like it. Everyone I know who's Greek says that this film is like a documentary. So it's got to be real.
That's always good. That's always good.
Yeah.
And lots of Greek people in it as well, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny how we relatively recently watched something like Little Italy, which doesn't try to do the same thing for Italians. It doesn't come from the same place, whatever. But still, in trying to portray it in that way, is the exact opposite of this. It's the inverse of this film, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it is.
But funnily enough, there is a link between these two films.
Do you mean in the cast, or is there another
in the
link
cast?
that you know of?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Andrea Martin is in both. Isn't
Yeah,
she?
that's correct, and she looks the same age in both, despite having
She does.
20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
She is brilliant.
Yes. Have you watched any of the other Big Fat Greek things?
No, I have not.
So
My Big Fat
was-
Greek dog grooming. I haven't seen it. No.
So there's My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, which came out 4 years ago.
Have I seen it or not? Maybe seen it. I don't know. Is it the daughter's getting married and she's too young to be getting married or something?
See,
I
had no idea that this movie existed. But it seems as though they got loads of people back, which is great. But I had no idea there was a sequel. I'm really happy it exists.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out at some point.
No, for sure. But then you've also got My Big Fat Greek Life, which was apparently a television show.
Yeah.
That appeared in 2003 for 7 episodes and then disappeared. And
apparently it was not good.
I can't imagine it was very good. But I like that they tried to make a Big Fat Greek cinematic universe.
Yeah, the idea of that is pleasing, isn't it?
Yeah, BFGCU. I want more of that. Come on, guys.
Yeah. My Big Fat Greek Infinity War.
It's you could set up a sort of Justice League situation or a Civil War, Captain America Civil War, apart from its Big Fat Greek Wedding versus Little Italy Wedding, and it's the Greeks versus the Italians facing off against one another. Their restaurant in this opens up next door to the pizzerias, and there's a whole standoff.
Yeah, and they have like endless cookouts of people trying to decide which is better food, Greek food or Italian food, and
they can get into stuff like, you stole all of our gods, stole them, huh? We made them better.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you were only unified in the late 19th century. What do you know?
Exactly. Hey, you could have a whole Captain Corelli's mandolin situation going on as well, couldn't you?
Yeah. What by which you mean Nicolas Cage can be in it playing a role he's not really ready for?
How dare you? How dare you? They could talk about it because he's obviously Italian or is meant to be Italian in that movie.
Yeah. That would be cool, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm on board with this.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Classic
the
restaurant
Italians.
warfare.
Yeah, there aren't enough restaurant warfare films, are there?
No.
Not ones that are good, anyway. We still need to watch that one with Gordon Ramsay, Love's Kitchen.
Yes, we do. Restaurant war movies. Let's see what comes up if I type that into
No, you're just going to get war movies that have like a scene in a restaurant in them.
The first thing that comes up is the 50 best war movies of all time. That's not what I'm after. I want restaurant war movies.
Yeah. Show me the scene in Saving Private Ryan where they go to a diner and order pancakes.
So we've got Burnt, Always Be My Maybe. Yeah, that was about restaurants.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Keanu Reeves going in the fancy restaurant, yeah.
Date Night apparently revolves around a restaurant.
Did someone mention that to us recently?
Possibly,
maybe not.
Yeah. My Big Fat Greek Wedding does appear on this list. Good Burger, of course.
I've not seen it.
Oh man, Good Burger is so good. Mystic Pizza as well.
Yeah, which I've also not seen, which we've been meaning to watch for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, no, we do need to watch it at some point. It's so there is more that we can do. There's more that we can get out of the old.
Yeah, I mean, there's always more we can do, just like as a general statement.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, no, there's more restaurant movies we can watch.
Yeah,
Maybe
could
that's
do
a spin-off
restaurant
podcast.
run. Yeah. Yeah, romantic restaurant films. That's quite niche.
Yeah.
And potentially finite. That's the thing with this show, is it's too open-ended. We're going to be doing this till we're dead. But that show, we could do, yeah.
Big boys eat pie.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
When the big boys eat pie, they will definitely cry if it's not good.
Oh, very good. Anyway, right. So
anyway, Joey from NSYNC is in this film.
Yeah, Joey Fatoni. Love it.
Joey Fat Tony.
I'll always remember. Did you ever used to watch Celebrity Deathmatch by MTV?
No. This was a thing that lots of people used to watch that I didn't watch. I think it was on too late at night.
You were too prim and proper for it. It was a claymation show where they made really ugly versions of celebrities out of clay, and then they did violent things to one another in a wrestling match.
Right. That and Eurotrash, two shows that were on too late at night for me to ever see, but that somehow a lot of people seem to be able to see, like as if they didn't have parents.
I mean, he needed to come from a dysfunctional family like me, Paddy, where I would be getting up at like 1 a.m, unable to sleep, and just going and turning on MTV2. You know, that's where I watch things like Wonder Shows and like Celebrity Deathmatch, things like that.
And then watching The Exorcist to calm down afterwards, probably.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I always remember there's an episode of that with NSYNC in it, and Joey Fatoni would get really angry because they kept calling him Fat One instead of Fatoni.
That's good. That's funny.
But he's fun in this, isn't he? It's nice to see him.
He doesn't get enough screen time, actually, in my opinion.
No. You kind of want him to be in it more, don't you?
Yeah. He's cousin Angelo, cheeky cousin Angelo.
What do you think of Greek food? Are you a fan of Greek food?
In general, yes, but I hate feta. Absolutely loathe it. Really disgusting.
Would you say that feta is fetid?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's one of my least favourite foods. So I like all Greek food apart from feta. So a Greek salad, nah, I can leave it. But a moussaka, love it.
See, I'm not a fan of moussaka.
Yeah?
Yeah, I hate aubergine.
Oh, it's like a cheeky lasagna.
It's one of my least favourite things, aubergine. I despise it. So yeah, I do not.
But do you like feta, though?
I love feta, yeah. Feta's one of my favourite cheeses.
It's so horrible. It doesn't know what it is. The texture can't decide what it is. It can't decide if it's like smooth or if it's crumbly or if it's what. It like tries to be somewhere in between. The texture of it is so disgusting.
But it's great when cooked though. So like a nice spanakopita where you've got that really lovely feta and spinach mixture in a nice phyllo pastry. Oh, hook it to my veins. Love it. What about baklava?
Yeah, love baklava. I could eat a whole plate of that.
It's so good. I remember I went to Crete on holiday, and everywhere for like desserts, if you're at a restaurant, would serve baklava with ice cream, and it's like, that's an incredible combo.
They just bring it to you. They don't ask whether you want it. They just bring it to you.
Yeah, have some delicious nutty syrupy pastries.
Yeah. It's good, and we ate a lot of interesting like meat and stuff when we were in Greece as well. You know, like rabbit and whatever. You know, they actually have quite a very meat heavy diet. A lot of kind of meat and potato stuff as well. You think of moussaka and feta and whatever else, but it's they have a wide range of stuff, and it's all very nice.
Yes, yeah, no, it's true, and that's true about a lot of Mediterranean countries. Is the key example as well is in Italy, where you think, oh yeah, pizza and pasta, that's all they eat. No, there's lots of really nice meat dishes that they do over there as well. You ingrates.
Yeah, and the Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah, where 7 fish eat people.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Happens once a year in Naples. The fish come onto dry land and walk on their fins and eat people.
Yeah, that's what happens. What's really interesting is, have you ever been to Malta?
No, I have not. I have been to Greece. You went to Malta relatively recently, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a couple of years back, a few years ago. And the food there is really interesting because there's a mixture of sort of like North African foods, but then also like quite rustic European foods and Mediterranean dishes and things like that. So there's lots of pastas around and things like that. But then also there's things like they've got these little pasty things called pastizi, which are really fun. They're these little sort of they're kind of like an Arabic pastry with the sort of phyllo pastry thing filled with sort of like cheese or things like that. But also they eat a lot of rabbit, so rabbit stew is one of the key dishes in Malta.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, sort of the various different foodstuffs you can get in these places, and I love that there was such a focus on food in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, because
definitely, but it doesn't overdo it either, does it? It's not like they're claiming that it's all the greatest cuisine ever, but whenever it works its way into the script, it's good and it's funny.
Yeah, it's always sort of an understated moment where they just come round of like, here, have some food.
Yeah,
have some spanakopita, have some. I'll make some lamb, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And she works in the Greek restaurant, which is her dad's restaurant.
Yes, yeah. Which is nice. There needed to be more stuffed vine leaf content, though. I think.
Yeah, those I don't care for.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally like you just went out to the tree in your garden and picked off a leaf and expected me to eat it. Like, I'm not down with that.
Fill it with some slightly oily rice. Shove it in your pie hole.
I could just have the rice without the leaf. I'm fine with that.
No. The leaf is what makes it. A nice bit of bitter leaf around the rice. So we want.
Yeah, not down with that. Yeah, so of course there's the moment when discarded Pearl Jam member John Corbett reveals that he's a vegetarian, and they're all like, oh my god, I'll make some lamb. And that's funny, isn't it? It is funny,
because that's often, anyone who knows a vegetarian knows their horror stories of travelling through Europe when they were younger trying to get vegetarian food. Because although things have improved a lot of late, it was an issue for a very long time. And I think, we all know people who are vegetarian who sort of had to live off chips on a family holiday in France and things like that. It's, Do you like John Corbett? Ian Miller, because he was in the Sex and the City, wasn't he?
The Sex in the City, yes, that's what that show is called. Which I've never really seen. Sex in
the City, that's its name.
that's its name. That's the show that the ladies like that I haven't seen. Haven't seen any of the films either. We should watch one of those.
Sure, we should at some point.
Yeah.
A long time away from here.
But let's not forget he was also the dad in To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Yes, yeah. He was one of Carrie's love interests in Sex and the City.
Right.
But not the one that she ended up with, spoiler alert, for a over 20-year-old TV show now, isn't it? Sex and the City.
Yeah.
But and then he turned up recently in a movie I watched called 47 Meters Down, which is about a bunch of divers who accidentally end up in a place with blind, deadly sharks. and he's the dad who gives an emotional dad speech.
He's always the dad. Is he always the emotional dad? I love it. Even in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I managed to turn him into an emotional dad at the end.
And he has the emotional. Great. He has the emotional dad moment, and then I assume in the sequel he is the full-on emotional dad.
Yeah, it's his final form.
Yes,
I do think he looks like he's from the grunge era, though, doesn't he? He looks like Eddie.
Oh
Vedder.
Yeah, his hair in this is pure Vedder.
Yeah. When he's walking past the shop where she works, and he's like trying to catch her attention, I just imagine him out there going, "Yeah, in a burrito out of here, yeah."
Oh, seasoned lamb. Gonna get it at the restaurant. Is he going to be in To All the Boys 3? Because that's out soon. It's out in February.
It says on his filmography that he is To All the Boys, Always and Forever, 2021. Oh, February 12th, 2021. There we go. This is coming up.
So we're watching that the day it comes out, right?
Yeah.
We've got to finish off the To All the Boys story.
Yeah, and that's going to be like the Valentine's Day week. So there we go. The second one was disappointing, wasn't it? but still,
it was.
But he's in it, so it's all going to be good.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I want to see how they finish it. Are they still going to have the love triangle? Are they just going to double down on Noah Centineo as the love interest? Who knows?
I really
Apart
hope
from
not.
People who've read the books who know what's going to happen.
Yeah, don't tell us, you nerds. We don't want to know.
Yeah. Or maybe it's going to be another love triangle, and this time it's her and another girl.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or maybe they do a love septangle, and it just gets all over the place.
That's the only place you could go, really, right?
Yeah, it's just everyone loves everybody. That's what we need.
That's the philosophy of our podcast. Everyone loves everyone.
Yeah.
Oh wait, John Corbett released an album.
Is it grunge? Please tell me it's grunge.
No, it's country. It's got a brilliant
it was
cover.
always going to be one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah. Why? What is it with the men in the films that we watch and like making country albums?
It's got to be done if you're a country star, or if you're an actor with hair suitable for music, you've got to make the most of it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, apparently he didn't write any of the songs, but still, why not?
Well, when you've got hair that good, you don't need to write your own music, do you?
No, that's true. Yeah, that's why Trace Adkins has to write his own country songs. He hasn't got good hair.
just doesn't have good enough hair.
Yeah, he's hiding it under that hat.
Yeah. It's just under that hat. It's a hat with like hair sewn into it, and actually he's just completely bald all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, John Corbett's great, and this was the first thing I ever saw him in, and I was like, yeah, it's that guy. And I think I expected him to see him in more stuff, and then I didn't. But it's just because I haven't seen the stuff that he's in. Yeah,
you're not watching movies about killer sharks.
No, I wasn't then, and I am not now.
See, I like a good shark movie.
Oh yeah, I've got nothing against shark movies. That just wouldn't be the top of my list.
We need to find a romantic shark movie.
That's true. Yeah, Sharknado. There's got to be some sex in Sharknado.
The closest we've got is Fishman.
Oh,
Torres Fishman.
The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro's The Notorious Fishman. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, I love that film. That'd be in my top 10 probably.
Yeah, Fish Boy.
Yeah, but you know what's similar that we haven't talked about that I've never seen is Splash. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not seen it.
Cool. Well,
I know there was the very big, little controversy over her bum being covered up.
There's something about a bum. Some bum controversy from the 80s.
Yeah, Disney covered up her bum on Disney Plus because clearly it was going to offend people.
That's right. Walt Disney came in there and he stuck a sticker over the bum and he was like, this is not family appropriate.
Cryogenically frozen head attached to a terrifying robot body stormed into the Disney Plus offices, brandishing a machine gun and a claw on one of his robot hands, and said, "Get rid of that bottom. I don't want that bottom on my digital distribution service."
Yeah. And then they were like, well, while we're here, can we talk about Song of the South? And he's like, no, I'm going now, bye.
I grow weary of this place. Wake me in 200 years.
Yeah. So yeah, we should watch that at some point.
Yes. Have you ever seen the movie that was filmed in Disneyland illegally?
No. What's that called?
So it's a horror movie. It's pretty bad, actually. I'm just trying to find it. It's like a sort of Lynchian, sort of like a Lynchian black and white horror movie about this dad who goes on holiday with his family. It's called Escape from Tomorrow.
All right. And they filmed it illegally in Disneyland.
Yeah, so they didn't get permission, and it was just filmed all sort of awkwardly around Disneyland in black and white. and yeah, it's quite strange and not very good. But I appreciate the gusto that they were like, yeah, our film's gimmick is going to be that it's all set in Disneyland.
Well, mechanical Walt Disney's head is going to go after them for sure.
And the poster is like a bloody Mickey Mouse hand. It's they really went after that sort of gimmick,
right?
But there's no such gimmicks in.
No. My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Budget 5 million. Box office 368.7 million. Kaboom!
Hell yeah, that's how you do it.
That's fantastic. I think this might not be true anymore, but I read a year or two ago that it's the highest grossing romantic comedy of all time.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
It has since been overtaken by Avengers Love Shack. the latest Marvel movie, which has a rom-com with explosions, so all the men can watch it too.
Yeah, it's got punch-ups and stuff. That's what the dude's like. One for the dude bros.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a pantomime and there's dirty jokes for the adults that go over the kids' heads. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's mostly romantic stuff, but suddenly there's a quick fight.
Hulk is there going, "You're making me horny. You won't like me when I'm horny."
Then, Horny by Moose T starts playing while they have a fight.
Yeah, and he starts twerking his little green butt.
Yeah. Yeah, his shorts rip while he's doing it. Yeah. It has a little dance to WAP at the end of it.
Yeah, Marvel, get in touch. We've got
if you're listening, we know you've been trying to break into the romance market for a while, and we have the solution for you right here.
Yeah. You want a raunchy teen comedy starring Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
As the Hulk.
As the Hulk, yeah. And Keira Knightley as his lady partner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, all you've got to do is just get the rights to the Pride and Prejudice movie she was in, and then just
redo that with the Hulk. Yeah, like Pride and Prejudice and Hulks. That was that crossover film from a few years ago.
Superimpose the Hulk into it, just every so often.
Yeah, that would actually be quite easy to do with today's technology. You probably wouldn't even have to shoot anything. No,
yeah, just put all of the Hulk scenes in. It's mainly CGI anyway.
Yeah.
Just superimpose that CGI in.
It would definitely improve it.
Yeah, get on board, guys. Get on board.
Speaking of Jane Austen, we've been watching Sexy Jane Austen on Netflix. Are you aware of this?
No.
I'm referring, of course, to the show Bridgerton, which is quite popular.
I thought you meant there was actually something called Sexy Jane Austen.
No. Netflix original.
Yeah.
Netflix, if you're listening.
Yeah, get on board, guys. Come on, we've got a great idea for you.
Yeah. Well, no, unfortunately, it's already been done in the form of Bridgerton. But yeah, that's basically what it is, but it is actually good.
I've heard that it's basically, what's that show about Archie comics, but not...
Oh, Riverdale, but Riverdale...
Yeah, isn't it just...
Yeah. Regency Riverdale.
With corsets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not as edgy as Riverdale. But it is good. It is compelling and fun and romantic and quite enjoyable. My wife has been watching it. I've been sort of in and out, but I found myself very, very compelled by the characters, and it looks amazing. And so I do recommend that as a popular Netflix show that is good.
I like that it's got Nicola Coughlan in, who is very, very funny in Derry Girls. Have you watched Derry Girls at all?
I have not. No, she plays one of the younger characters who's kind of overlooked, and is really it's a really interesting role for reasons that I will not spoil it, but it's good. She's very good.
Because Derry Girls is spectacular. It's one of the funniest shows at the moment, and I'm very much looking forward to the next series whenever they're able to do it.
I've heard nothing but good things. Yeah,
it's so great. Okay, maybe I'll give it a watch. At the moment, we're rewatching Broad City.
That's good too.
Always Sunny is our two rewatches at the moment. We've also been watching murder shows.
Of course you have. Everyone watches murder shows because they're popular.
So I don't always watch murder shows. Sometimes I get a bit bored of them, particularly if it's like this detective has a dark secret that is going to be uncovered, but also there's a murder. I'm like, I don't care about the dark secret of the detective. Give me a murder to solve. That's what your focus should be on. And a lot of the time I find that murder shows now are just like, this guy's an alcoholic who's cheating on his wife and who's secretly into fetish porn.
Yeah.
And now he's also doing crack and it's all going to come tumbling down. Oh, by the way, he's solving a murder. I'm like, I don't care about this arsehole. Give me the serial killer. That's all I'm focused on. Give me the serial killer. So we've been watching
Shoestring, Taggart, Morse. What do all these shows have in common? It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been watching The Night Of, finally, which is very good. Came out a couple of years ago. We've also watched I think it's called Unbelievable, which is very good, and that's based on a real rape case of a serial rapist, and that was very interesting and really went into sort of gender politics in America and mistreatment by the police and things like that. It's a very interesting show. And also real murders. So watching a new series about the Night Stalker, and there was one about the Yorkshire Ripper as well, both on Netflix, which are very interesting. So being into murder. 2021 is the year of serial killers.
The year of My Big Fat Greek Murder.
It's
the only logical way they could go with the franchise, couldn't it? If they wanted to be relevant and popular, this is what they would do, right?
It goes My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, My Big Fat Greek Divorce, My Big Fat Greek Murder Insurance Scam.
Yeah.
Where long hair is murdered in order to get the life insurance payout to buy a new Greek restaurant.
Yeah, a better one. The current one's falling apart.
Yeah, they need a new one, so they murder him.
Yeah. And the brother Nick or whatever, who's like good at art, he's like art career hasn't taken off. He needs the money to pay back some like loan sharks who wanted to buy a painting but then didn't. There's a whole thing there.
Yes, yeah, exactly. There's a depth to it.
Joey Fat Tony's involved with the mob.
And then it's all about a depressed Italian-American detective who has to deal with being addicted to heroin, but also having a compulsion to kick old women on the street.
Yeah, so and one of those old women is Andrea Martin.
Yeah. There we go. This summer.
Yeah. But the real question is, can he put aside his Italian prejudice to solve this Greek mystery?
Yeah, because to begin with, he's like, I don't care if a Greek killed another Greek. I'm Italian. It's another reason to hate him. He's a misogynist, racist person who kicks old women.
Yeah. But you love him, really.
That's what you want.
These are the characters you want to root for, you hogs.
Yeah, you want the most dislikable characters you possibly can, and you want to root for them.
So anyway, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, huge smash, and really, really deserves it, I'd say. And I think the important thing to note about it is that it was like her thing. It's her passion project, and it grew out of her one-woman show into the film. And she clearly had wanted to tell this story about her life and her family and whatever, and do it in a funny and engaging and humorous way. And when someone has that kind of passion and that heart in it, it just really shines through, doesn't it? I mean, I think they've tried to knock off this film and make loads of similar films, and they're never quite as good for that reason, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is when something has as much heart as this and as much depth as this, it's hard to replicate that, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's, I think, why this film feels timeless, even though it's kind of dated. It's really weird. Did you find that it felt dated and somehow still timeless at the same time?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It did. It felt like a movie from 2002, but at the same time, I wasn't going to begrudge it that.
Yeah.
You just kind of get lost in it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, her kind of passion for it really, really shines through. And she's great as well. And also, she's 40 in this film and looks about 20. And yeah, I just wanted to say that because she looks great and everything, and she's a really beautiful, wonderful woman. We saw this other film, My Life in Ruins, with her in, which I think came out a couple of years after, and I think we stumbled across it on the TV. And at first we were like, this is terrible. And then it actually turned out to be quite good, which, as you can guess, also is to do with Greek stuff.
I was going to say, is it ruins as in Greek ruins?
Yeah, but that's the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she plays like a tour guide, bringing people around Greece and going around all the historical sites and stuff. It's a fun concept, and it plays out quite well. We could talk about that at some point.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about? I realise that this has been a very rambling episode.
Yeah, we talked about every other film under the sun. Well, that's the thing. There isn't necessarily that much to say about it because it's not necessarily a film that's super deep, is it? It's not like massively intriguing or anything. You know what you're going to get. It's not surprising, but it's a film that has real heart and is it's comfort food, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the film equivalent of getting in on a cold winter's day and making yourself a nice cup of hot chocolate.
Yeah. So you can't beat that, and we need those kind of films more than ever in these times.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like it when John Corbett says to the dad, like they've gone over to like reveal the relationship, and he's all pissed off that he didn't ask him. So he's like, "You didn't ask me." So he's like, "Oh, I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to ask you politely. Can I please date your daughter?" And he just looks at him and goes, "No!" And the way he says it is just so funny, and that like made me laugh out loud.
See, I really love the way that he's finding the root of every word in Greek.
That's a good joke.
That's an ongoing joke, which is just very funny. And each time it comes up again and again, it's very, very, very funny.
Yeah. And he gets the number one emotional dad speech, like where it's at a wedding and you're the dad at the wedding. Like that's peak emotional dad speech, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
And I like all the Greek music, and I like when they do the Greek music and it speeds up. That's always good.
Oh yeah, and plate throwing and everything like that. Got to get on that.
And there's also a moment that really, really made me chuckle, is when his John Corbett's uptight white parents go to the Greek house for a party, and like Andrea Martin has cornered them, and she's telling them the story about how like they found a lump on her neck and it was her twin or whatever. Like for some reason that scene, like it's really weird, was actually quite funny to me, and I don't know why.
It's great, isn't it? It's so good.
And
that's the thing, is you get all of those little stories and those little moments of character in this where it helps bring the whole thing to life, doesn't it?
Yeah. My wife's favourite line is when she's delivered a bundt cake and she goes, "There's a hole in this cake."
There's a hole in this cake. Yeah, that's very good.
There's a hole in this cake. There's a hole in this cake. That's a remix I have to do. My wife has never heard that song and is aiming to never hear it.
Oh dear. Right, I've got some trivia for you.
Yes, please.
So this has one of the longest theatrical runs for a film in the home video era, playing for 52 weeks.
Wow.
Of which 28 were in wide release. So it played for 11 weeks longer than Titanic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
And that must be a contributor to its huge box office figure.
Oh yeah. It also, as of 2002, it surpassed Dances with Wolves as the highest grossing movie to have never hit number one at the weekend box office.
Damn it. Kevin Costner just can't catch a break, can he?
It also surpassed The Blair Witch Project as the highest grossing independent film of all time, until it was beaten by Passion of the Christ.
No.
Yeah, I know. I know which movie I'd rather watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it did do incredibly well, and deservedly so. It has a magical quality to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it does still hold up as well, is the other thing about it. Now, as I said, it's dated but timeless. You watch it now and it does, it feels like totally appropriate.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, so it's a good one. So how are we going to rank this?
Let's see. How many relatives do you invite over to your house for a party when you've told the partner's parents that it's going to be just them?
So my partner's in for a surprise because it's going to be 15 more people turning up.
Yeah. I think my party is the same size. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, it's a good sized party.
Yeah, it's
this movie is
75% of the way there. Just because there's nothing about it that is groundbreaking or necessarily even really exceptional, apart from the heart. How it has so much heart, and that's a very, very good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and in a film about love, heart's the most important thing.
That's a phrase I'm going to put on a t-shirt.
There we go. Little bit of poetry for you.
So what are we watching next?
So the political world is on fire right now.
Yep.
So I thought let's bring a bit of love back to politics. So we're going to be watching a movie from 2019 called Long Shot.
This I heard about this at the time and thought it sounded interesting.
Yes, yeah, and apparently it's good. It's apparently good.
Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting concept, isn't it? That's sort of against the kind of political backdrop. And
yeah, because often
trying
movies
to
about
tackle
politics
political
are very
journalism. Yeah.
Yeah. Often movies about politics are very sort of awful in terms of it being very grim or cynical.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at something that tries to bring a bit of romance and a bit of comedy.
Sounds great.
Into the world of politics.
Yeah, God, political films. Yawn. Frost Nixon. Frost Dickhead, more like.
Eyes of March, more like Ides of Farts.
We did watch that and it was boring.
I really like that movie, but it is you come out of it just feeling like you've aged a decade, don't you?
It really goes on. That's all I'll say.
No talking dogs, no interest from Paddy.
Yeah, that's my own thing. Did you notice the talking dog in My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
I thought that was the main lead, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
exceptional spaniel hair.
Yeah, Greek dog gets married. That's the film that I want.
Clifford the Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah. Digby, the biggest Greek in the world. Boy, he's one big fella. You can be sure of it. Right, well, that's good. We really, really hope that you enjoyed hearing about all the other films and TV shows that we've watched, and also hearing about My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which, if you haven't seen it in a while, if you haven't seen it, firstly, it is a classic rom-com that you should see. But if you haven't seen it in a while, pop it on,
Yeah, it's a really lovely film. And given the start to 2021 that we've all had and how much of a disaster 2020 was, let yourself have a little moment of calm and comfort.
It's the opposite of the world being on fire. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
The world's sitting there surrounded by feta.
Yeah. So you can find us on Twitter at BigBoysDon'tPod. You can email us bigboysdon'tcrypodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. And we will be back next week to talk about Long Shot.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.